Hey, Cavs fans, it's Spencer German, Spencer Davies, of course. We are here at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse after the Cavaliers 129-117 loss to the Indiana Pacers. Don't worry, just the preseason, not that big of a deal. We're keeping it very light. They were keeping it very light, so light, in fact, that Kenny Atkinson actually took a page out of Kevin Stefanski's book and didn't play his starters tonight, except for Jared Allen, who we found out after the game, Spence, was adamant that he needed to play. He told Kenny, I want to play. I need to get in rhythm. And so he was the one starter that was out there tonight for Cleveland.
Yep, and he went out there and looked like JA. And the thing is, like he established a great relationship, I think, on court with Ty Jerome. And Ty Jerome is going to be one of the big stories from tonight. When Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Karis LeVert, Sam Merrill, all those guys are out, he came in, stepped up, started, and gave them a solid 15.8 assist night. And was really looking in control of everything and being very organized and making sure that this team was pretty much just kind of, what's the other word for organized? I can't think of it right now.
Togetherness.
Together, I guess. Structured. How about structured?
It's the preseason for us, too. We're still working on our verbs.
It really is. And half of the time, the Guardians are on. Huge win, by the way, 5-4 in Detroit.
Yeah, how about those Gardos? I will say, maybe
Ryan Rocchio, shout out.
Probably the loudest cheers tonight for a Cavs preseason game, of course, were when they flashed any of the Guardians highlights on the scoreboard. That was the moment where the arena got very loud.
Correct. And shout out to my guy Enrique Freeman. Played a lot of the second half.
He did.
Came in, got 7 offensive rebounds in his set. He played only one half. Got 7.
He threw up the zip.
Threw up the zip. Yeah, exactly. Gotta love it, man. Akronite. Got a bunch of people, a bunch of zips in the crowd, teammates, friends, family. Coach Gross was out there. Saw Shema Scott in the hallway. So really cool to see Enrique get that. But like Spence was saying, pretty light night for the Cavs. But we will get to some people that stood out, and I'm sure that Spence will ask.
Yeah, that is where I want to go next is, it's preseason. There's only so much you can divulge or take away from these games. I thought it was interesting pregame, though. We talked about this during the game. Just a quote from Tristan Thompson about Dean Wade and his usage and what he's going to bring to the table in this offense. And it was funny because Kenny Atkinson and some of his teammates got on him a little bit after this game because they thought he was a little bit too gun shy in this game. They didn't think he was pulling the trigger enough in a game where, there's no stakes. You're just kind of going out there seeing what you can do. Just your thoughts on not even necessarily how Dean played tonight, but what you saw from him tonight. He got a chance to play the 5 a little bit. And how he fits into the offensive game plan this season, you think?
So you get small ball 5 Dean Wade. You had big ball 3 Dean Wade on Tuesday. So this is just showing the versatility that the guy has, right? And I think I mentioned it on the last post-game report I did with John, but Dean had a pin down run for him where he took a mid-ranger off of a screen in the middle of the floor. When's the last time we saw that happen? Because usually Dean's just camping in the corner. But Dean now, he's going to be cutting. He's going to be attacking the offensive glass. And as his teammates are saying, shoot the damn ball. That's all he's got to do. And no more pump fakes. If you got to use the pump fake to get an advantage to get to the rack, then sure, because he does have the size to do that. I think he's got a little bit more quickness than people, kind of give him credit for. But I feel like his role is going to be to make open shots, and it's going to be to defend the other team's best player when they're on the floor. And whether that is somebody that is a 5 or whether that's someone that's a 4, a 3, a 2, a 1, Dean's got the ability to do it. He can move his feet. He's a big burly guy. And like Kenny Atkinson said, he's a legit 6'9.5", 6'10". And that's a lot of ability to bring to the floor.
And not enough people talk, I don't think, about his defense, how good he is as a player on that end of the floor. And we know, maybe shifting philosophies a little bit from JB Bickerstaff, who was more defensive minded, to Kenny Atkinson. But you still need guys that can defend, especially on the perimeter, and Dean Wade can certainly provide that. Obviously, again, without the starters out there, it was a lot of role players, a lot of guys that were kind of getting some reps. Who are some of the other players that stood out to you and did some things tonight that you think can translate to the regular season and be impactful for this team?
Man, I love how they talk about Jaylen Tyson. I really do.
He's a character, man. He's so funny, and they bust his chops a little bit, and he pushes right back. He's got a lot of personality, which I think is good.
I mean, he's everywhere on the floor. And you saw this in Summer League. He is going to dive after every loose ball. He's going to get every opportunity that he sees the ball is in the air or in a crowd, whatever it is. He's going to make a difference. And that, I think, is a one-way ticket to the rotation. And Kenny Atkinson said he's giving me a really hard decision.
He
Really,
said, I think the words he used to was "don't count him out."
yes.
Was I think what he said post game, as
Yes.
in like don't count him out for like being a guy who's up with the main team and doing some things and having an impact, being part of the rotation. And I think for being a rookie, and he said he feels like he can play at this level from day one. He was like, I want to be a contributing role player with this team. He's certainly during the preseason trying to earn that role.
100%. And the way he's going to do it is with the defense. And I think defensively, he's getting a lot of opportunity in the preseason already to showcase what he can do. There was one possession in this game, maybe a couple possessions of this game, where he made multiple efforts, guarded 3-4 guys in one possession. And one of them, he got a block. The other one, he came down with the rebound. Whether he's putting pressure on the ball or off ball, he's looking in passing lanes. He's doing something. And that's the thing about Jaylen Tyson is maybe you're not going to see the impact in the box score. I think that there's a load of potential when it comes to Jaylen Tyson on a team like this, just because he's another guy to bring in to hustle. And hustle goes a long way in this league.
What do you think about Ty Jerome? He obviously played a good chunk of time tonight, was a key contributor, and a guy that I think the Cavs did miss late in the season last year after he got hurt postseason time, because they didn't really have another point guard that they could turn to in certain situations.
A 6'5" guard that can come in and just organize, like I was saying earlier, give you some structure. I did ask Kenny Atkinson about Ty, and specifically with Jarrett Allen, because he's hinting that Jarrett Allen's going to be playing with 4 smalls around him in some second unit lineups maybe. And that is a good pairing to start with Ty, because Ty is going to need that role partner. The way that Kenny described it was thrust. He's got that thrust roll to the rim, and somebody to be able to lob it to, because Ty was just raving over Jay and how he can just catch anything that comes to him, whether it's in the pocket, whether it's on a lob. So that's going to be a big pairing there. But in the sense of Ty, I think that he looked like he had some legs back under him finally. He was using that, I don't know how to do this on camera, but he was using a one-step dribble back shoot, which was really nice. It created a lot of space. It wasn't really going in the first half, but then he started to find the bottom of the bucket. And I feel like Ty, who has been, quote unquote, the MVP of September, according to Kobe Altman. So he's definitely in the mix here. And it's somebody they missed last year because it's a bigger guard too. That's the other thing.
One thing I thought that Kenny Atkinson said that was interesting after the game too, he was asked about keeping one of Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland on the floor at all times. He said he hasn't made a determination on if that's going to be the case. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's something that they should consider doing, or how likely do you think it is that they end up going that route where one of those guys is always on the floor at a time?
If they aren't on the floor together, then Evan will be on the floor. Okay, that's how I'm looking at it. If you see somehow Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are on the bench, Evan Mobley will be on the floor because of the ball handling stuff, and how there's been multiple ball handler conversations as we've had throughout this entire training camp, and how important it is for someone to initiate the offense if it's not Darius or Donovan. So Evan would be on the floor in that case, and maybe Ty Jerome would be that guy that'd be on the floor. Maybe it'd be Craig Porter Jr. Who knows? Because Craig's going to try and make a case for himself. Now, in Craig's case, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because of the guard situation and how heavy they are there. They still have Karis LeVert, Sam Merrill, Max Strus, so it's really tough to get him on the floor with Donovan and Darius together. But Kenny was talking about how he wants them to focus on the defensive end of the ball and bring the ball pressure and really pick up full court, which is something that Craig really didn't do last year too much. But that was another thing that I noticed tonight about Craig, just changing it up a little bit from that sense. And, there's a lot of guys that are be battling for rotation spots. And the Cavs are deep. They are very deep. And I think it's interesting to see how this rotation is going to shake out.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse tonight. Cavs have 2 more preseason games to go, turning sort of into next week.
He's exhausted.
I am pretty tired, yeah. It's been a long day. But that's not why I'm wrapping the video early. I'm wrapping the video at 10. You guys know, if you listen to Spence and I, we could go for anher 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, you know it.
I just don't think that you guys want us going 30 minutes on preseason basketball. So we're gonna cut it off here. As always, I encourage you to head on over to the Cavaliers on SI YouTube channel. Spence has been crushing it with the videos, using his new phone, getting the up close and personal with the guys, posting all those. So we have post-game sound from players, from Coach Kenny Atkinson, of course, and more content like this. Spence and I will obviously be back with much more of this as well in the weeks ahead as we get closer and closer to the regular season. That first game against the Raptors, which is crazy to think, is just around the corner. the home opener with JB Bickerstaff coming back into town with the Pistons is just around the corner. So basketball is not far away, guys. And we can also encourage you to continue following along for all the best Cleveland Cavaliers coverage you will find over at Cleveland Cavaliers on SI.